Good day, everyone. I am Vanessa Faith L. Linuay, BE-Ed 4, ECO 12, Rationalizing EDU 563, EDU 562, EDU 566, EDU 564, and EDU 565. In EDU 563, question number 1, instrument in the orchestra that produces the highest pitch. A. Drums, B. Flute, C. Trumpet, D. Clarinet. And the answer for number 1 is flute. Flute is a musical instrument that uses or making sound by vibrating a column of air. It is a basic rhythmic unit of a measure. A. Tambourine, B. Tempo, C. Beat, D. Staff. The beat in music represents the number of pulses felt within a certain space of time, commonly known as a bar. The following are the double-kneed instruments except A. Oboe, B. Basson, C. Contrabasson, D. Clarinet. The answer for number 3 is clarinet because based on the choices, the three are the double-kneed instrument and only clarinet is a different. Question number 4. Who is the most popular Filipino composer of modern times? A. Juan Felipe, B. Ryan Cayabyab, C. Nicanor Abilador, D. Freddy Aguilar. And the answer for number 4 is letter B. Ryan Cayabyab is the most popular Filipino composer of modern times. Question number 5. It is the rate of speed in a musical composition. A. Beat, B. Tempo, C. Staff, D. Bar line. Tempo means how fast or how slow a piece of music is being played. Edu 566, question number 3. Who among the following headed the barangay? A. Malay Ibangsa, B. Sultan, C. Dato, D. Rahamuda. And the answer is letter C. Dato. Dato is the one who headed the barangay in modern times. Question number 4. During the time of pre-Spanish era, what are the bases in selecting a barangay leader? A. Wealth and influence, B. Wealth and status in the society, C. Wealth and power, D. Wealth and bravery. The answer for question number 4 is letter D because during their pre-Spanish era, they need a wealth and bravery barangay leader to protect them. Question number 5. What do you call the group of people who transfers from one place to another place to look for food? A. Nomads, B. Explorers, C. Traders, D. Colonizers. And the answer for number 5 is nomads because nomads are the one who are transferring to one place to another to find their food. Being an agricultural country, most of our countrymen still depends on A. Weaving, B. Hunting, C. Pearl diving, D. Farming. And the answer for number 7 is letter D. Farming because in the question is being obvious because of agricultural country. Question number 8. Who among the following lead the rituals were often performed by early Filipinos? A. Monk, B. Shaman, C. Babaylan or Katalunan, D. Dalai Lama. And the answer for number 8 is Babaylan or Katalunan. Edu 562, question number 1. It refers to the word that describes the expected learning outcomes of the learners at the end of the lesson. A. Objectives, B. Content, C. Competency, D. Learning resources. And the answer for number 1 is letter A. Objectives because it is the expected outcome of the learners by the end of the lesson. Question number 2. It refers to the list of resources that a teacher uses to deliver the lesson. A. Objectives, B. Content, C. Competency, D. Learning resources. And the answer for number 2 is letter D. Learning resources means learning materials, visual aids, and other resources that a teacher can uses to undergo a discussion. Question number 3. The following are examples of a subject matter or a content in a lesson plan except A. Digestive system, B. Identifying the functions of stomach, C. The parts of the heart and its function, D. The peritoneal and pleural cavity. And the answer for number 3 is A, digestive system, because it it is not a subject matter or a content of a lesson plan, because it is not explaining the main idea of a lesson. Question number 4. It refers to the main ideas or skills you expected students to master. A. Content standard. B. Learning competencies. C. Performance standard. D. Learner standard. And the answer for number 4 is letter B. Learning competencies. Because as a teacher, you are expected your learners to learn and to be competent in the learning process. Question number 5. It is used to evaluate the specific measurable evidence that is acceptable in determining whether content standards have been met. A. Content standard. B. Learning competencies. C. Performance standards. D. Learner standards. And the answer for number 5 is letter C. Performance standard, because in determining the content standard or the learning of a learner how that has been met, you need to know their performance standard. 564. Question number 1. Divide 9.84 by 8. A. 0.0123. B. 0.123. C. 1.23. D. 12.3. And the answer for number 1 is letter B. 1.23. Question number 2. 5,876 pesos are distributed equally among 26 men. How much money will each person get? A. 226. B. 230. C. 250. D. 224. And the answer for number 2 is A. 226 each person. Question number 3. If you divide 3.5 by 0.07, the quotation will be A. 0.05, B. 0.5, C. 5.0, D. 50. And the answer for number 3 is D. 50. Question number 4. Jessica has 1,135 beads. 604 beads are red and the rest are blue. How many blue beads does she have? A. 531. B. 530. C. 900. D. 560. And the answer for number 4 is letter A. 531. Because if you add 531 blue beads plus 604 red beads, you will come up 1,135 beads in all. Question number 5. 89 people have been invited to a banquet. The caterer is arranging tables. Each table can set 12 people. How many tables are needed? A. 8. B. 10. C. 20. D. 25. And the answer for number 5 is letter A. 8. EDU 565. Question number 1. To ensure that the demonstration will work, we ought to A. Avoid eye contact. B. Plan and prepare. C. Present a demonstration hurriedly. D. Avoid drawing attention to your audience. And the answer for number 1 is letter B. Plan and prepare your lesson to ensure that the demonstration will work. Question number 2. Which of the following is foremost in a planning and preparing? A. Setting the objectives. B. Having a list of materials. C. Setting time limits. D. Knowing the demonstration methods. And the answer for number 2 is letter A. When you are planning and preparing your lesson, you must have to know first your setting and the objectives. Question number 3. What do teachers do in a whole group instruction? A. Teachers evaluate understanding throughout the lesson. B. Reteach certain concepts. C. Provide students learning activities. D. All of the above. And the answer for number 3 is D, all of the above. Question number 4. Which of the following learning situations is teacher driven? A. Students use textbooks to draw maps and battles in a civil war. B. Students research the life of a Confederate soldier during the Civil War. C. Students listen to a lecture about the Civil War. D. Students create rhymes to help them remember important dates in Civil War. And the answer for number 4 is letter C. Students listen to a lecture about the Civil War because it is the duty of a teacher to have a lecture for the learners. Question number 5. When presenting a lesson, effective teachers will A. Will wander off the topic frequently to give humorous but largely irrelevant examples. B. Will talk slower at the points in the lesson that are particularly important. C. Will use a wide variety of visual aids and graphics to drive home important points. D. Will give clear indications about the most important elements of the lesson by saying. And the answer for number 5 is letter C. It is a duty to use a wide variety of visual aids and graphics to drive home important points so that the learners could listen carefully and they could easily remember.